Nobody loses themselves all at once. It happens quietly, in small moments that don't feel like anything, until one day you look up and realize you can't remember the last time you felt fully like yourself. Maybe you know this feeling, a room full of people talking about the things that apparently matter: careers, money, achievements, appearances. And somewhere in the middle of it, you got quiet. Not dramatically. Not because of one thing someone said. Just quiet. And if someone had asked you why, you might not have had an answer. You just knew somehow that this wasn't your moment to speak, that you hadn't quite earned it yet. Maybe you've noticed that you do this in different rooms, not just at dinner tables, but in conversations where you have something to say and choose not to. In moments where you want something and talk yourself out of wanting it. In spaces where you could take up room and quietly move to the edge instead. It looks like being considerate. It looks like being humble. It looks like not making things about yourself. And for a long time, that's what you called it. But somewhere underneath, something else was happening. Something quieter, something that took much longer to name. Somewhere along the way, and this rarely happens in one moment, many of us absorb a lesson that nobody teaches directly, that the right to speak has to be earned, that the right to take up space requires proof, that you, exactly as you are, without the achievement, without the number on the scale, without the title or the income, are not quite enough to justify being fully heard. Sometimes this looks like chasing success. Sometimes it looks like taking care of everyone else, until there is nothing left to give yourself. Sometimes it looks like becoming exactly who people needed you to be. The reliable one, the strong one, the one who never asks for too much, until you forgot that you were allowed to need things too. It doesn't always look the same, but underneath, the feeling is the same. I have to earn my place here, so you wait. You tell yourself, you'll speak when you have something worth saying. You'll show up fully when you have something to show. You'll take up space when you've earned it. And while you're waiting, quietly, almost invisibly, you start to disappear. Here is what makes this so difficult to see clearly. It doesn't feel like loss. It feels like self-improvement, like discipline, like finally taking yourself seriously, because the voice that says, "You are not enough yet," doesn't sound cruel. It sounds reasonable. Lose the weight first. Get the job first. Be more productive first. Figure your life out first. And then you will deserve to rest. To be seen, to ask for what you need. But perhaps you've noticed the then never comes. Because every time you get closer, the standard moves. There is always something else. To fix, to improve, to prove. And slowly, without ever deciding to, you stop living your life and start managing it. Like a project that is always one step away from finally being good enough to be loved. Maybe you stopped saying what you actually thought in rooms where you felt you hadn't earned the right. Maybe you stopped wanting things out loud, because wanting and not getting felt worse than never wanting at all. Maybe you learned to edit yourself before anyone else could, to shrink before being asked, to need less, to ask for less, to become very good at being easy to be around. And somewhere in all of that, you began treating yourself the way you might treat a guest who wasn't sure if they were welcome. Quiet, careful, taking up as little room as possible, just in case. There is a version of yourself you have been waiting to become, the version that has it together, that has proven something, that has earned enough, achieved enough, changed enough to finally stop apologizing for existing. And you have been waiting for that version to arrive before you allowed yourself to fully live. But I think many of us reach a point where we begin to wonder, what if enough was never a destination? What if it was always a moving target, placed just far enough ahead to keep us from ever arriving? What if the permission we have been waiting for was never going to come from the outside, If you recognize yourself in any of this, I'm not going to tell you that everything changes today. Maybe part of you still believes you need to become more before you're allowed to be enough. Maybe that belief has been with you for so long. It feels like truth, and perhaps it won't disappear from one video, one conversation, one moment of recognition. But maybe, just maybe, something shifts when you begin to see it clearly. When you notice yourself getting quiet in a room and ask gently, is this who I am? Or is this who I learned to be? Because those are not the same thing, and the distance between them is where you find your way back. Not all at once, not today necessarily, but you can begin by simply noticing how long you have been waiting for permission that was always yours to give yourself.